Hello Simmers, this is your captain speaking, and we are going to present another video today on Plugin Manager, and I'm going to go through and show how various functions of the application work. I had another video on installing Plugin Manager and getting it set up, so I'll at least skip the installation part, but I will do the setup again for you. But I'll give you the download uh, reference in the notes below the video, so take a look there if you want to know how to download Plugin Manager. Plugin Manager is a free utility for Microsoft Flight Simulator users to help them manage their third-party add-ons. The version that I'm using here in this video is version 1.0.25 beta. I hope to be producing the first release version in just a few days, so if you'll watch the download location, you'll be able to see an announcement about that, or see the download media. So let's go ahead and get started. When you first run Plugin Manager, it will look a little bit like this. This is the Folders tab. The folders, data in the Folders tab will be empty because you haven't done anything yet. This is the Packages tab, and the Packages tab show the zip files that you use for installing plugins, and the Folders tab show the folders that have been installed in the community folder, or folders that have been moved into a hidden folder to hide them from Microsoft Flight Simulator. The first thing that you'll want to do when you come to Plugin Manager is to go into the File menu and click Setup. This will bring up the Setup window that looks a little like this. These little red marks indicate errors that are on the fields, and if you'll hover your mouse over it, you'll get a pop-up window there, or a tooltip that shows you what is wrong with it. And this says that the folder path is required. Click Browse, and we will browse to the location where the community folder is. And I have moved my community folder so it's easy to find. And so you just select the folder, click Select, and the path to the folder will be presented here in this field. Now this is still red, and it says the hidden and community folders must be on the same drive. And that's the reason that there is an error there. Not that there's anything wrong with this string, but it's not on the same drive as the hidden folder. So now we'll click Browse on the hidden folder. And for demonstration purposes, I've created a folder called Staging, just to show that it doesn't have to be called hidden. It's just the kind of folder it is. And so I have a staging folder here that is where I will place folders to hide them from Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'll select that, and now our errors go away. The zip file folder is optional, but I would encourage you to use it. It makes it a little bit easier to find your zip files. In fact, what I've done here on my system is I've created a folder called MSFS plugins, where I've placed the zip files that that I want to plug in my computer. Now this is a file folder browser, so we don't see any names in here, but we'll see that in just a moment. And so I'll select folder, and that places the path of my zip files in there. One other option in the setup window is the logging option. I have added some file logging to the program. So if you'll click there and select one of the logging options here, we'll select error here. That will show us everything that is an error, exception, a warn, or fatal, and it will ignore anything that's below that or above that in the case of the way that this is presented. But we'll select error just in case there is an error, and we'll be able to see what the error is. Click OK. And when you want to look at logging, you can just go up here to logging, and this says the logging is not enabled, so we need to make sure that the logging is enabled there. And I think that's just what happened there was a problem with the binding, but now it definitely is logging, and we know that it is. And then you click on View Log, we'll bring up a window here of whatever has been added to the log. You can edit the log here if you want to make notes about what's in the log and so on, and click Save, and that will keep whatever you edit within the log. So now that we have everything set up, let me show you what I've done here in my Packages folder. In Packages Community, I've removed most of the packages that I normally use in Microsoft Flight Simulator, with the exception of a few that are installed in a little bit different way. Some of these are installed with an exe file. Some are installed by it's an exe file, but it's a special kind of file, and so on. So because they're not installed by zip files, I decided just to leave them in there. And so we've got 4 folders in the community folder. We go back to the staging folder. There's nothing there, so that's empty. And then over here in the downloads directory, if I go to MSFS plugins, we can see all the zip files that I have downloaded, and made sure I've got the latest version of each one of them. So we're going to close that. And the first thing I'm going to do, or the next thing I'm going to do, is to synchronize. And what synchronize does, it goes out to the staging and the community folder and make sure that everything that is there is represented in the database. So I'm going to click synchronize, and now I have those 4 folders represented in the database for Plugin Manager. Now let's go over to Packages, and it's a little bit more difficult to add the packages to the database. You have to add them by going out and selecting them and adding them. But let's do that. See how hard it is. And click Add New, and we'll get a file, an open file dialog box here to find the zip files to add. And it goes automatically to your zip file folder. And I'm just going to select all of the files that are in the zip file folder. Make sure there's nothing there selected that I don't want selected. And that's everything I want. And click Open. And that gives me a pop-up window that tells me that 12 zip files were added to the database. I'm going to click OK. So here are the 12 zip files that were added to the database. And now what I want to do is I want to go in here to each one of these zip files, and we'll click Edit,